Hey, Smoke Circle. We are switching things up a bit this week. In this episode, we sit down and get caffeinated with Barret Baumgart, the award-winning nonfiction author of the books China Lake and Yuck. Yuck, The Birth and Death of the Weird and Wondrous Joshua Tree, is his most recent release, and we spend some time learning about the strange history that surrounds the strange tree. Who knew? And also, who knew that Los Angeles, the area where Barret resides, is full of truly bizarre history? I mean, like, truly. So if you like your history weird, straight, no chaser, be sure to listen to today's episode, because after talking about Yuck, Barret also tells us about his debut novel, China Lake, about this massive top-secret Navy base that makes weaponry in the middle of Death Valley, but also sits on top of Native American pictographs that have been dated to be about 15 to 19,000 years ago from present. And if you think that's intriguing, he also shares with us his current project about the United States' worst nuclear disaster. And no, it isn't 3 Mile Island. It's Los Angeles. All of Barret's information, social media, website, everything is linked in the show notes below. So if you like weird history, he is a perfect follow. Please check out his work. He was so much fun to have on and a perfect guest for the Smoke Circle. We were going to release his interview as a bonus episode between our regular ones, but Katie wasn't feeling so well, and then we weren't able to get our schedules to quite match up. So we just thought that this would be a nice little weird history palette cleanser for you. And then we'll be back in a couple of weeks with episode 109. In the meantime, please enjoy our time with Barret. I know that we both did, and we will see you again in a couple of weeks. Enjoy. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today and joining us to talk about Yuck, the birth and death of the weird and wondrous Joshua Tree. I always have to say it like that. Instead of just like, Yuck, calm, the birth and death. No, it's Yuck, because it did get a lot of yuck. So Barret, thank you. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you on today and hanging out in the Smoke Circle. So before we dive into this weird and wondrous book about this weird and wondrous tree, how did this get started? Like, we love weird history on this show, and we always will find things that we're like, we have to know more about this. Did you also set out to write about the Joshua Tree, or did you just get like hit by this research?
Yeah, it kind of came about accidentally. I was going to get married in Joshua Tree in 2020, and it had become so popular as a destination. It felt kind of cliche. I was on all these wedding blogs looking at all these just like highly crafted, curated, beautiful photos of people in front of these weird trees. And I was like, God, we're just being funneled into this massive, industry out here. And I've always, I'm from Southern California. I've always been exploring the desert. I've kind of seen some of these places blow up over the past 10, 15 years when they used to be kind of empty. So long story short, I kind of wanted to, justify it to myself and also to guests that might be coming from, the East Coast, elsewhere. Like, why the hell? We're landing in LA. This is so cool. It should be a vacation. And now, like, what the fuck? I'm driving an hour and a half to this wasteland and to stand around in sand. Like, this isn't what I wanted. So it had like a dual purpose, what's really beautiful about this place? Maybe I could discover some interesting poetic wedding vows, this thing surviving in this harsh place. And then telling people, hey, this is the history. This is why we chose this. But I didn't know. So when I started digging and doing a little research, this little wedding favor packet that I thought I might put together for guests slowly expanded into more and more interesting research. And then COVID canceled the wedding. It was rescheduled, it was canceled again. Throughout that process, I just was, kind of going down the rabbit hole of all this history that, didn't seem like anyone had kind of dug up and put together yet.
So this started as an information booklet for a wedding.
It really did, yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, as everyone's being seated and you're just like, here's your packet and here's your, take one, pass it down.
A wedding favor, a gift, yeah. And there was no wedding. We still did not get married.
Oh, so that's still...
Oh, man.
So it got canceled twice? No.
Three times.
Three times. Barret. Oh,
Fucking
I'm so
oath.
sorry. Well, one product of it has been this book. So you're able to put your energy and your time into this amazing book. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but hey, I would just say, like, if I was at a wedding and they handed me information about the location and where I was and the history of it, I'd be like, this is the best wedding I've ever been to in my life. Like,
Dude, especially in that like Mad Max style setting, I'd be like, absolutely, we can leave LA in the dust. Fuck that place. I'm definitely going out to the desert.
It's going to be really cool.
Well, I'm sorry the wedding hasn't happened yet, but what an interesting way that took you, that you're just like, I'll see if I can learn a thing or two about this. And then you get really pulled into the research of this amazing tree in the desert that no one seemed to like for the longest time. As you were writing in your book, like, all these early explorers and early settlers just really hated the fuck out of this tree. Like, all the time, like, no one, well, in any account that you give, no one had anything kind to say. I mean, there was, quote, a grotesque, fetid, useless freak. Fetid gets used so many times by people in the book to describe the tree. And I was like, oh man, this poor Joshua tree. Now, I've not seen it in person, but I was just like, oh man, this poor tree. Everyone hates it so much. But it really grew on me. No pun intended there. But I'm going to lean into it. It really grew on me in the sense that, like, this tree, as hated as it was, it didn't care. And it just gave so many middle fingers to the early settlers. It was like, oh, you want me to be useful in some way? Yeah, go fuck yourself. It just absolutely refuses to be useful. And I found that really funny. Refusal to be useful is really a through line through the book. What is it that's appealing about a tree that just refuses to play along?
I don't know. Yeah, it's a good question. When you read this book, you might come away with the impression, like, God, this guy, he hates the Joshua tree. Does he even like it? What is the purpose of this book? But yeah, I think quietly that's kind of like what is being, like, suggested here in the takeaway is, like, yeah, this kind of it's kind of a symbol of, like, resistance, maybe, like, slowly, as all of this hatred builds toward this inanimate, harmless object that's just been doing its thing for thousands of years, and then these people show up and are losing their minds, hysterically, filled with loathing and rage for this thing. Over time, yeah, I think reading this little book, there's this feeling that accrues, like, yeah, this thing is kind of this, like, heroic, quiet survivor. Yeah, I don't know. I think, you could talk about capitalism, consumption, the West. But yeah, there's something powerful and beautiful in this tree that, we've tried everything possible to turn it into something profitable, useful, from firewood to paper, to splints in World War I, to alcoholic drinks, to wallpaper. And every, entrepreneurial venture has miserably failed. And the only thing that seems to be working today is this weird reversal from, that decades of hatred. This weird reversal today where you and I are kind of sitting here being like, yeah, this thing is kind of powerful and it's a symbol of something. And yeah, it's caught on. Everyone, in Southern California and throughout the West, like, loves this tree now.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a U2 album. There's there's so much social media love for it, and travel blog love for this tree. It's like this the place to be and a place to go is to go see this. And you did mention so many different things that people tried to make out of it and really bend the tree to their will. What was one of your favorite failures that you found that people tried to make with it?
There's a lot, but I guess paper is the most interesting. Yeah, there's a like a large buried history out there. There was a time. I mean, so many names were thrown about for this tree, and one of the names that stuck for a couple decades was the paper tree, and that gives you a sense of how concerted the effort was to turn this into a source of paper. They built a bunch of paper mills actually in the 1870s, 1880s at the outskirts of Los Angeles County. And they were chopping this thing down and dragging it across the desert to these weird mills where they were boiling it into a spongy pulp and trying to go through this process of paper making with this thing, which technically isn't even a tree. One of the, it's a line in the book, but one of the great ironies is this thing that would bend to no purpose was saved, ironically, by the elasticity of its fibers. So being a yucca was all, so mucousy and slimy or whatever, they really could not press it into that service of paper. And I love it too because LA was expanding at that time. It was a new city and they just discovered the climate. People wonder why are there so many people in Southern California? It's started off the weather, the climate, the sun. And so they needed paper. The original empire builders of this area, the ruthless dudes who were just dead set on seeing this become the biggest city like in history. They needed to advertise. They needed paper. So kind of an interesting coincidence there.
I love that when it wasn't cooperating to become paper, these guys were just like, well, just throw more money at it, just like just put more capital into it, just make it like really, like you said, just really trying to bend it to their will. But yeah, its own elasticity is what saved it, Yeah, you're right. Like they were really like pounding that climate as like the thing that it was like the selling point of Southern California and that area. Between all the climate propaganda, if you will, and the land boom and the boosterism, which relied on quite literally like burying the Mojave landscape, bulldozing like 200,000 trees. Do you feel like they ever really won over the tree, the boosters, the capitalists, those guys who were really trying to make that area what it was and what they wanted it to be, like their vision? Do you feel like they ever had the last laugh, if you will?
That's a great question, and not to make it too big, but I feel like that's the battle's still going on. I mean, Southern California is not, it's this massive metropolis. Is it sustainable? It's pushed all the way out to the desert today. The region is sustained by all this imported water. So it's a question, like all these boosters in the book, they wanted to turn the desert into oasis, plant orchards, import all this water. We're gonna make the whole desert green. They're still trying to do that. If you drive out to the desert, I mean, there's all kinds of crazy farms growing dates, almonds, and desert soil. It's kind of surreal to come over a ridge and just see, acres and acres of bright green fields in the middle of a 115-degree day. So wow. Did they succeed? Yeah, they've succeeded in transforming large chunks of the desert with imported water. Have we succeeded in getting rid of the Joshua tree? No, but then, when you start looking at the science today, it's another irony. Through a roundabout, we were just discussing climate. It seems that, through climate change, we might actually kill off the tree. So, yeah, right at this moment where people are becoming obsessed and finding this tree to be something valuable, it turns out it looks like it's going to disappear.
I was surprised to read that in the book of just like how after all this time of it, people, early settlers trying to make it into whatever they wanted it to be, that it actually is quite a delicate plant, or fragile, like its root system. And, it went from freak to Instagram paradise, this aesthetic thing. So I guess like what happened there? What was that transition? Do you feel like that was authentic, or was it just another way for humans to just bend nature to its will?
I don't know. I mean, as you say all that, those wedding blogs come to mind, and this history comes to mind, and I can't help but thinking maybe deep down, like human beings, this tree kind of has an anthropomorphic form. Deep down, I kind of think like, yeah, maybe like we have intuited that this thing is like resilient and like resistant, and these couples hugging and kissing underneath the drooping arms of these trees. Like it's a weird juxtaposition. People in 1870 would have been horrified and thought they were devil worshippers or something. But yeah, I don't know. We've absorbed it, and I think authentically as some kind of symbol. The process by which we've gotten here, I'm not sure. I think it's started counterculture in 1960s, like LA bands, getting out of town, going to the desert, doing drugs, playing some music out there. U2, definitely, as cheesy as it is, I think had an impact on naming one of the biggest albums, The Joshua Tree. Yeah, it's undeniable. And then since then, I mean, I think this whole desert boom, like really just kind of started around Instagram. Another kind of cheesy thing to admit, but yeah, I think it is the rise of social media, and people are just fascinated by it, drawn to it. It is confusing, perplexing when you see this thing. And yeah, my goal, it turns out in writing this is, to just deepen the understanding and the appreciation of this thing. And yeah, it turns out as we're consuming, it's kind of a harsh word, but yeah, this place is kind of being consumed. It's extremely popular. There's a hell of a lot more like beneath the surface to appreciate, just beyond those drooping, grotesque arms like monsters in pain. It's just a quote.
Yeah, no, and it's funny. You said like, you mentioned devil worship, or like how. Yeah, just like as a monster, it was this, like everyone really hated this tree so much. And I was like, oh, Barret, please tell us about the Mormons. What do the Mormons have to do with this? I love their little story in the book about this.
Yeah, I don't want to offend any Mormons, but if there is any truth to the claim that Mormons have some weird ideas, they, consistent with that, they were the only group of people that found it to be something beautiful or positive. While it was universally reviled and seen as demonic, demoniacal, infernal, people were using those words. The Mormons saw it as a symbol of prophecy, that they were on the right track. There's a lot of debate about what this name Joshua, where it really came from. But the lore is that the Mormons, crossing the desert in search of, a place to, found their polygamy cult far from prying eyes. They saw this weird, tortured symbol as the prophet Joshua raising his arms to heaven. And, a cloud supposedly stopped right before the sun, just perfectly to cool them off that afternoon. Just as Joshua commanded the sun and moon to stand still over whatever area it was, Gibeon or something. So, yeah, that's the lore, that the Mormons saw it as its arms were the prophet Joshua.
I like that they're like the only ones that were like, yeah, you know what, this tree isn't so bad. It's all right by us.
It's kind of cool. Yeah, I mean. Maybe they're insane, or maybe that is one. Those are some positive points for the Mormons. They actually were on this point correct here. Yeah,
absolutely. That through line of the tree refusing to be useful, and its whole journey that it's had over all the decades here and all the time. And my little boy is deeply, deeply passionate about waste management and recycling and garbage and composting. Where does it go?
Deeply passionate is the word.
Deeply really passionate. Yeah, it's the only thing he wants to talk about. It's the only thing he wants to play. Like, that is his thing. That's so I would be deeply remiss if I didn't talk about like the final, I don't know, final form or maybe like parting gift of the Joshua Tree and the story of Puente Hill, the world's largest landfill, which is powered partly by decomposing Joshua trees. Wrote one of your stats here I thought was really fascinating. So the Puente Hill power plant produces 50 megawatts of power, which you say would be the equivalent to an area about 2.5 times larger than Disneyland's, like 2.5 Disneylands being covered in solar panels to be able to get that same amount of energy. And I was like, well, that's that's helpful in today's age, you know, and needing power and stuff like that. But also, like, it's interesting, you know, seeing that so many early Americans and these early American settlers couldn't get rid of the trees, couldn't do anything with it. Now they're in this landfill, which is sad, you know. But the decomposing the gases that it lets off is now translating to a massive amount of power. And so interesting metaphor, like parallel there. Was that something that emerged through your writing and through that research, or did you always plan for that to be a little bit of like a parallel to be drawn from the book for readers?
I'm not sure exactly how I landed on the landfill and that decided that needed to be part of the book. But I think it was, you know, thinking about the history of Southern California, the way this area was sort of conjured out of nothing, you know, dry, not water. There was nothing here really to recommend such a large settlement, you know. Now there's, you know, 30 million people in Southern California. How did that all start? And where has it led? You know, so for me, I guess just doing too much historical reading on this area. Yeah, that landfill just seems like it's just this bloated, swollen heart of Southern California. It's the largest landfill in the world. And, you know, thinking about the Joshua Tree, like this term we keep using, its refusal to be useful. It just seemed like kind of the perfect way to bury this book, to finish it and put it to rest, was to think about the literal fact that, you know, these trees as this metropolis has, you know, continued to expand out into the desert into the 90s, and some of the kind of, you know, the least desirable parts of Southern California are these kind of bleak suburbs at the outskirts of LA, maybe around like Victorville and Hesperia. And I'm sorry if you live there, but they're not really amazing places. Just large, empty, you know, suburban tracts. Tons of Joshua trees were mowed down, hundreds of thousands to build these, you know, bedroom communities. And it was a good way to bring the book kind of to a close, thinking about, all right, well, at least some number of Joshua trees had to find their way into this vast landfill at the center of LA County. And
the teeny tiny silver lining.
Yeah. Hey guys, let's celebrate the Joshua Tree. It's at least providing a few little megawatts for somebody's house down there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That is a great way to have closed that. And yeah, kind of like bring things sort of full circle, I guess, in a way. So on our show, we've had quite a few episodes in which we've done where we've talked about Indigenous history in a few places in the world, but specifically in the Americas. And I thought it was really interesting that a few times in the book you mentioned how all the Indigenous peoples in this area, regardless of language or tribe, they all had a name for the Joshua Tree that translates to bridge. And I found that really interesting. It's like, and also even more so, looking at the present day in this Puente Hill landfill. Puente means bridge in Spanish. And it's just like that theme throughout with that word bridge, you know, being in there. So I know you say in your book that you don't know the reason for this necessarily, but let's just speculate a little bit, you know, like what do you think might that be about? You know, like what is it like? What's on the other side of that bridge? Is it like metaphorically speaking, ecologically speaking. I don't know. What are your thoughts there on that?
Yeah, I think that's kind of where the book like ends and kind of abandons the reader, is this question like, yeah, we've been on this bridge. Yeah, Southern California has paved this like massive path of consumption, epitomized in Puente Hill for the rest of the world. This, the media machine of Hollywood has, just recommended to the rest of the world the consumption, the mass, sort of profligate lifestyle of Southern California. And where has it led us? Yeah, we're at a point now where we're being told that it's all completely unsustainable. Things like the Joshua Tree are disappearing. The atmosphere has a level of carbon that like cannot be maintained without massive ecological cost. So yeah, we've paved this path toward an extremely high quality of life. We've advertised it to the rest of the world. It's not something everyone can enjoy. Yeah, where do we go from here? I don't know. And yeah, the question of what the Native Americans saw on the tree, how it was a bridge, a staircase. Where are we going? I don't know. I think the book itself is trying to, in the most idealistic way, lead the reader on that journey across that bridge, up those stairs, along the fronds of the Joshua Tree, climbing toward what? I don't know. We have to decide our future. That's kind of what it comes down to. Is this book sort of curates a journey through careful kind of poetic arrangement of facts, and it leads you to a point of kind of where we're at the abyss. Like, where are we gonna go? It's our choice. So yeah, it's not super satisfying, but it really is. It's up to us to decide: are we gonna keep crossing this bridge while it's in flames and we just collapse into an abyss, or are we going to pause, reflect, take a look around at how beautiful this world is that we somehow mysteriously find ourselves in, and try and correct and respect the natural world that we're inherently a part of, whether we like it or not. Can't fucking continue if you don't have trees, seeds, soil. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Correct and respect. I like that. And it's a really beautiful way to end the book, because it does, like you said, it might not be the quote unquote satisfying answer or ending, but like that's exactly where we find ourselves in today in real life. So I think that was a really excellent way to leave the readers with that question and be able to reflect on that themselves. But no, it's an excellent book, Barret, and I really appreciate the opportunity for us to be able to read it and get to know you and hear your story and the research that you found about this amazing plant. And but it's not the only book that you've written. I know you've done one more called China Lake, and that is not one that I have dug into yet. But I wanted to ask him about it, because I was like, I'm curious about this other book that you've written. And he started telling us about it. And I'm like, we need to talk about that. Like, this is wild. So would you mind just giving a little synopsis about that book? Because I think that one sounds also incredibly fascinating.
Yeah, definitely. There is a military base in the Mojave Desert where the Joshua trees are located. I guess most of my research just keeps happening in the Mojave. But yeah, it's the Navy's largest worldwide land holding. You think the Navy's in the ocean, but no, they have this huge 1.2 million acre base right beside Death Valley, kind of at the foot of the eastern Sierra Nevada. And it controls like something like 15% of California's airspace. They do a lot of, like super advanced like weapons research and development out there. There's a long list of like innovative like firsts that have come out of there, like terrifying weapons that have taken a lot of people off the planet. I think the most famous is the Sidewinder heat-seeking missile, named after a rattlesnake that has a infrared capability, I guess. But that was a major innovation, the Sidewinder. But yeah, that what started this book was I'd known for years driving past this place that most people don't even know is there. You can drive right past it and not realize that these vast empty desert tracks are quietly hiding this super top secret weapons research center. But out there, weirdly, is the largest concentration of Native American rock art in the Western Hemisphere. And it's also thought to be the oldest artwork in the Americas. It's been dated back possibly as far as like 15 to like 19,000 years before present. And when that dating took place, it kind of single-handedly, challenged, rewrote kind of the chronology for the settlement of the Americas. There just really hasn't been anything like reliably dated like that far back, and it's all on this military base. There's a single.
So you can't go see it. I
was going to say you can. There is a single narrow lava canyon where there's like maybe 250,000 images of bighorn sheep in a span of like a mile and a half. The Navy occasionally provides tours of this one canyon where you can see, it's like 200,000, maybe more than that, images of bighorn sheep. They're all impaled with spears, shot by arrows, upside down, bleeding out. It's super weird. It's creepy. You kind of walking through this, get the vibe like this maybe wasn't a happy place. Like, why the hell were they killing all these sheep? And what turned this into a book was my discovery that this was likely a rainmaking cult. That, there's a lot of statements throughout the ethnography. If you kill a bighorn sheep, you can make it rain. And then tying it into conspiracy, politics, climate change, the U.S. military supposedly, quote, perfected the technology of cloud seeding at this military base, which was deployed as a weapon in the Vietnam War in Operation Popeye to flood the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Modern day conspiratorial, weird weather control, rainmaking, colliding with this ancient site of like sacred shamanic rainmaking. I was just like, this is so weird. So that
holy shit, we need to get out there and go on a tour like right now. I'm fucking in.
Next to Death Valley of all places,
it's a spooky
too.
Place.
Like, yeah, gosh.
Yeah,
I feel like I've been to Death Valley. I think I have. Pretty sure we like drove through it because there's like a sign that says if you don't have this much gas in your car, you're fucked. So either fill up here or like you're getting stuck out there. I was like, oh shit. I was like, what is this? The fucking Outback? Like,
you don't want to get stuck out there. That's for damn sure. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, no, it was so hot. The air conditioning in the car didn't keep you cold at all. I remember that. That's like the one distinct memory I have. Because now it's been 18 years since I was out there. That I remember that like distinctly, that it was like super insane hot. And I remember the mountains when we were driving through. I know it was the Mojave, at least, where their mountains look like chocolatey. And I know that sounds weird, but like versus like the mountains I'm used to seeing out here in like Tennessee and stuff. I went out there, I was like, your mountains are so like decadent. Like they're like chocolatey looking. It's probably just the like minerals in the rock and the stone and stuff. Like I get it, like what it probably is, but that's what I remember the most about the Mojave Desert. It was fucking hot. There was a past the point of no return sign, and there were chocolatey mountains, and I was like, damn.
When you run out of gas and you're dying of heat exhaustion, you just gotta eat the dark chocolate.
Right, the Heath bar, like.
Stop licking the rocks. Stop it. Get your tongue on the rock.
Death Valley is brutal, man. It's it's all volcanic. Like there and this area where the petroglyphs are, where there's a million images. Those are active volcanoes. They're lava canyons. It's all black basalt. It's in this place called the Coso Range. Coso means fire in Paiute Shoshone. The largest like geothermal plant in the United States is quietly sitting out there powering the entire base. It's a crazy volcanically active area, and that's true of Death Valley to a lesser extent. But yeah, this is just like there's this little ring of fire in the Mojave Desert over there.
Dude.
Super weird spot.
And the military is fully in there doing their thing. Oh
yeah.
that is really fascinating. And I think, I mean, Katie and I, a couple Midwesterners, flat, everything's flat, and there's corn, flat corn,
Fucking
everything.
corn. It's corn for days.
Yeah. So I think the West in general, I think especially like the Southwest, California, like the desert, like that whole general quadrant there of the United States is a really fascinating place, and still very much, I don't know, it still feels like it holds a lot of mystery and a lot of like mystery and history, like, wow, like there's just so, like these pictographs that you're talking about, thousands and thousands and thousands of years old, like it's just
there's
incredible.
Also dino bones out there.
And
Don't
dino bones.
There's dino bones. Just want to put that out there.
And it looks wild and like Mars, because it's like the landscape's totally different, and it's a really incredible looking place that certainly needs to be treated with respect, for sure. And I think it's really amazing that you have two fantastic historical accounts and nonfiction books in this area, and I'd be willing to bet you could probably find so many more things out there to research and that will catch your eye as time goes on. But no, that's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. No, the Mojave Desert is so interesting. It's definitely my favorite place, and the Eastern Sierra Nevada, that whole corridor of the Owens Valley. There's Joshua Trees out there. There's this military base, Death Valley, like you're talking about driving through there. It's so big, it's so vast. You can screw up so badly and just totally die on a family vacation. Like it's a cool, wild, dramatic area. It's beautiful, and the history. Yeah, I mean, like it's unbelievable. There were people with a culture and making art in these crazy, inhospitable places. Maybe 19,000 years ago, and here we are. I'm not far from, Puente Hill, and we're just in Southern California, and it's just banal, like wasteland, just endless strip malls and suburbs. But yeah, just go over the hill, and man, there's a lot of mystery just sitting out there.
That's incredible. Do you have any future projects that you're working on after Yuck? Have your eye on anything that you want to write about and research?
Yeah, I do. It's equally weird and crazy, maybe weirder than all of it. But I'm
so ready.
On the book for years. Yeah, this one, I sound real schizophrenic when I talk about this one. But there's the largest nuclear meltdown in U.S. history happened in Los Angeles, and no one's heard about it. It happened at the end of like the valley, like the San Fernando Valley. It was in 1959, and it's thought to have released like 400 times the radiation of 3 Mile Island. And it was officially covered up by the U.S. government for 20 years. It was only revealed like accidentally in 1979 by a UCLA graduate student who was digging through some boxes in an engineering library and found a bunch of weird photos of like melted rods that were literally labeled melted blob. And this is a site today owned by the Boeing Corporation. Probably hundreds of people have died through the release of this radiation that has technically never been cleaned up. It's a huge ongoing battle. These people living in suburban homes around this site that's quietly hiding up in the hills above the valley. It's literally sitting on the headwaters of the LA River. So the LA River starts right up in these sandstone rocks. It trickles down. The water that's been flowing through the LA River since 1959 has been trickling out of a nuclear meltdown site. It was also a major rocket test area. Werner von Braun, the Nazi SS officer, most famous rocket scientist of all time, who built the V2 Vengeance rocket. He was the prime target of Operation Paperclip, capturing all the Nazi scientists. Thousands of unrepentant Nazis were brought to the U.S. and put in charge of our space program and our weapons research. Kind of an insane history. His first job was to go to L.A., go to this site and rebuild the V2 rocket. And with his help at this site, we took mankind to the moon in 1969. And next to the largest rocket test stand in these hills is a cave in which there is ancient Native American rock art. There's a huge panel of Chumash paintings that depict humanoid figures ascending into outer space. So it is a chilling, unexplainable coincidence that there's nothing else like it in the world. So,
Holy shit,
Barret!
A sequel to China Lake here with the rock art coincidence. Yeah, it's just wild. So,
Whoa.
Do you run tours? Can we all come sign up for a tour?
Yeah, these places are all locked down, and they definitely don't want me continuing to dig around the edges. But
that's quitters talk. We're getting in.
I've only been threatened twice, and yeah, not too severely, but yeah.
Oh, goodness.
All right. Well, I'm adding that to my list of restricted areas that I have to get into. It's that fucking glitter factory in New Jersey, and now it's this place out in California. I have missions to complete. Send me. I'm tiny. I'll go unnoticed. I'm like right under the radar. Like I'll just like physically like walk under fences. I'm only 4'11". They'll never even notice I was there.
She is small. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Not in heart though.
I'll point to the gate and I'll wish you good luck.
And then stand back.
Yep. Just stay there. I'll be like, I'll be back. puts mission goggles on and just trudges off like some determined honey badger. Absolutely. Actually, that's an accurate statement.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, yeah, especially where Boeing's involved. Yeah, yeah. Careful out there in your research and as you do that. But goodness, that sounds wild. Sorry, I couldn't think of the adjective fast enough. I just landed on wild there because that's very interesting, and I look forward to. Well, I want to read China Lake now, and I also want to. I'll be keeping a finger on the pulse of this project you're on right now. Do you have any sort of end date for when that might be published, or are you fully in the process of researching right now?
I'm still writing it. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know when that's going to come out, but hopefully I can be done in another year or so. Yeah.
Okay, right on.
So I've been working on it since 2018, 2017. Just been, off and on. I can't figure it out. It's ruined my life. We'll see how this thing shakes out. But yeah, it's definitely derailed a lot of my life. This book project. So it's a passion project, and there's so much rich material. But yeah, hopefully some of that pain and misery makes its way into the pages in a positive way.
I'm sure it will. Like, it's the thing, a passion project and something that you really pour your heart into is it comes across on the pages and all the love and the effort for it does as it has with this book as well. So Barret, thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning. Thanks for getting over caffeinated with us and talking about your amazing books. I'm really looking forward to more projects from you and reading more of what you already do have published and released. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you on talking about Yuck, the birth and death of the weird and wondrous Joshua tree.
Yeah, it's really been a pleasure. You guys are super fun. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Our pleasure.
Come back anytime with weird history. We love it.
That's so much weird history. Yeah. I don't know why I keep finding this shit, but yeah, it's a good place to talk about it. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so into it.
Yeah. Always have a home in the smoke circle here, that's for sure. So thank you.
Appreciate it.